Right. So first, I've opened up the graphical interface and I've quickly am browsing through the preferences menu. The preferences menu basically holds all the shortcut keys for all commands. So I'm trying to figure out some commands so that I'm accustomed to, just like in Photoshop. So I'm changing the command for the redo as Control Shift Z, like in Photoshop. I prefer Control Shift Z because Control Z is the undo command. Okay, so now I'm also going to change the brush settings. So this is fairly the graphical interface of Toon Boom. Now, mind you, I have an older version, so the newer version might have some color differences, or the UI or the UX will have some new features. So I'm going to change all the tool type presets on the select tool, curve editor tool, the paint tool, the text tool. So you can find most of these tools and subtools in the preferences section, and I'm trying to figure out the overall drawing settings and checking out if the undo command works. So Control Z, Shift Z, and it's pretty much working. Okay, so the next is uh, the move tool. So I'm going to go into the preferences folder again. It's in edit, preferences, and I'm going to go for the general options and see where the move option is. And okay, so I'm taking the mouse pointer on top of the tool and it's not showing me a tooltip, and I think it would be move. So I'm trying to figure out. So as soon as you open the generals tab and just select move, press the M key, it will alphabetically bring you to the move tool. So let's see if the move tool is here. Yep, found it. It's A. Set it to select tool. So it's called the select tool. So then the white arrow is the contour editor. So let's go again into the preference setting. One more time. Note that every time you open the preference setting and you change a shortcut key, it will give you a prompt that that shortcut key might be set to your something else. So please make sure that whatever you change, you just I guess ignore the rest, because basically if you want to go for like advanced features, I'll then do some more tutorial videos on Toon Boom as much as further I explore Toon Boom. Also, there is the text tool. I'm going to give it the shortcut T so that we're on the same page. Then we have the generals tool, and I'm going to find the pencil tool, but I think all the drawing tools are now in the drawing mode tab. So let's find all the drawing tools. So the eraser is E. For the text tool, I go to preferences again. It's always a good step. It's always a good thing that if you do these step by step. Also, better would be that whenever you actually like make videos and upload videos, that you have the screen on fast forward, because I can now figure out that when I was doing this, I was trying to actually find things down and it's taking really long. So okay, so now I'm figuring out the brush tool, the pencil tool. So I already know that all the sub tools are in the drawing mode section. So I've sort of like figured out where all the tools are. I'm going to press the keys now and see if they are working. So P for pencil, B for brush, T for text, E for erase, A for the move tool, and V for the contour editor, paint bucket. For the paint bucket, you use the G tool. So Control Z, for Control Z, Control Shift Z, they're also working. I'm going to quickly go back again into the drawing mode. Uh, I might actually find the onion skin tool also. And okay, so I'm looking at the timeline, drawing mode. Let me see, onion skin. Oh, press the okay. So okay, yeah. So I think onion skin is already set to Control Alt 0. That is totally fine. I'm perfectly good with that. And just press OK, or you can press cancel just in case if you make an error and you don't want to change the shortcut of some key and you did it by mistake. So that there is that. And after this, I think let's go ahead and do the assignment. Now the assignment, it's pretty interesting because this is mostly the time of the year that I introduce my 9th graders, 10th graders, 11th graders, and 12th graders, all 4 high school graders, to Toon Boom. Now when I do this, it actually they go wild with like animations, and believe me, I mean, like the stuff that these guys do, and they've been doing this for 7-8 years now. It's totally amazing. I mean, like at the end of the year, they make so many great animation sequences, and it's just like a small step, but in the long run, I would say it's like a huge. These small droplets make a huge ripple effect in an overall non-existing industry in my country. So let's begin. So I've started writing these notes at times when I actually wander off to where, when I wander off to my students and I start talking about their work and our work and what we're doing and the projects. You guys have gotten a little bit of a hint that we are making comic books and we are making animations here in Pakistan. So let's hope that we keep the momentum running and we are persistent. So let's move on. So now I'm trying to figure out the brush settings, brush presets, and I'm going to create a drawing layer. And okay, so the drawing layers are already created. I'm now going to actually import the images that I actually drew on the whiteboard. This is a week ago. I did this. I gave this to my kids as an assignment. Mind you, last year we also did some weapons, and since during this time it's like war time in Pakistan and India, so I'm not going to post the assignments that the kids did on the gunshot animation and the weapons animation sequences, because last year I got into a lot of trouble on social media. So this time I am creating like human or cartoony characters by the name of Chacha Falooda. So this is a whiteboard reference of Chacha Falooda. I'm going to create a new file. It's a movie file. So Photoshop has these presets that allows me to make an HDTV video file. I'm checking out the layer settings, the color palette settings, and figuring out if it's red and blue. Animators normally use red and blue colors. So now I'm going to save this as Chacha Falooda, and I'm going to save it in my folder. And where is my H drive? Okay, so you can see a lot of animes, a lot of cartoon animations in this folder. And yeah, this is my work folder, work stuff. So there's like foundation works. So this is the cartoon animation folder. It's got like a huge library of animations that I've done over the past years with my students and me alone as a solo artist. But 7 years ago, I decided that instead of doing solo work, I should start doing work in teams. So, firstly, my team is my students, and then the second thing is a couple of professionals that I've trained over the years. They have joined forces with me, and they help me from time to time in figuring out ideas. So now I'm going to scale these two whiteboard illustrations. So this is a typical Falooda is basically a drink in Pakistan that's very famous. It's like similar to the South Korean drink bobo or boba. Boba drink, but it doesn't have those tiny pellets, fruit pellets in it. It has gelatin, and another seed like thing. We call it tukh malanga in Pakistan, but I don't know the English translation to that. So this is Chacha Falooda, and he's obviously wearing a turban, and he's got like those big dark sunglasses, and he's got a mustache, and he's smiling, and he's giving a smirk. So I did. I'm really tall. I'm 6 feet 4 inches, 6 feet 3 inches. So the whiteboard level is really down. So that's why the character is slightly drawn in a upward curve. So I'm going to fix that bug quickly, and I'm going to start with Photoshop. So initially I thought that why don't I just import these images and then just trace over them in Toon Boom. But then I realized that when I saw the images, the proportions were slightly off, and I'm like a neat freak, and like I like all my drawings to be of the same scale and dimensions. So you can see the gunshot sequence that I was teaching my kids, and pretty amazingly, some of the kids have already done this assignment, the gunshot sequence. So now I'm going to turn down the opacity, turn up the background layer, and I'm thinking maybe I might actually upload this, save it like as a PNG, but then I realized that the drawings are not that good. The scaling is slightly off. The drawings are moving slightly upwards. So let me just figure this out and fix this. And also the straw is slightly tapered to different sides. So from here on out, I think I should speed up the animation, the video, 6 by 6 times, so that you can actually get a general feel of the animation sequence. So this is when you're actually trying to figure out the best sequence of animations. And since I've been doing animations for a very long time, and practicing how to move characters, how to create walk cycles, it's fairly not that difficult for me to actually figure out walk cycles. Although I still believe myself that I'm not a master compared to other American animators out there. And I just practiced a lot in the past 7 years, drawing illustrations on the board with my students, and then implementing those drawing illustrations onto Toon Boom and Photoshop. So you can also get that get to that level. It takes time. I mean, I would say that I would be lying if I said that after a 2 month short course or a 5 month short course on digital illustration or animation, you will become like a very good artist. In the beginning, you will just find job openings of tracing, or like doing all sorts of things for your boss. And I think in Pakistan there are very few companies that hire animators on full-time basis or cartoonists on full-time basis, because it's really a very demanding industry, and mostly the client doesn't want animations, and you have to have like a steady number of people who would work for you. So I guess teaching is a better option, because it gives you the opportunity to teach more kids, and maybe, who knows, in the future those kids might actually start working in the field. So here I am now speeding up the drawing process. So I'm just now figuring out how to draw this character as quickly as I can. So I'm trying to figure out a baseline for the characters. So these are those tiny Malanga seeds in the Falooda drink, and it's made with ruafza. Most people actually add red food coloring, but some people actually make it with jami shiri ruafza. I'll probably upload a video if I have some free time on the weekends on showing you guys what Falooda is. It's also called rabdi in Pakistan, and the idea came from two of my students. They recently went to the old Lahore city, and they had desi cuisine, like local cuisine from Pakistan and Punjab, and over there they had Falooda, and they didn't know what it was called, so they figured out that it was called rabdi, and they were really impressed. I mean, like small efforts make a huge difference. So now the kids actually now say that they are very big fans of rabdi, and they keep on going there and having rabdi and desi cuisines. So at least my presence with the kids is actually helping them figure out desi cuisine and local cuisines in Pakistan. And okay, so this is what I do mostly, that I try to figure out the sequencing or the framing of the character. So in the first frame, the first keyframe, the character is moving up and down, and he has his arms flaring up and down as well, as if like he's doing some kind of jumping jacks or something, or sit-ups and stand-ups, or sit-downs or whatever. So I'm trying to figure out different sequences, so I'm just copy pasting the positioning, and I've drawn this curve arc to figure out the landing poses, the bending poses as well in a typical walk cycle. And now I'm just using gestural drawing, figurative drawing techniques to figure out the foot positionings. Mind you, if you're not actually figured out gestural drawing, there's another video on my YouTube page you can look up. I'll leave the link of that video for you guys, and also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow up on the notifications. I've also received some requests from different people for videos on like what do you call it, different the lessons in different languages like Urdu, and I'm really happy because I've been dying to do lessons in my own preferred language, mainly being Urdu, and I would love to do lessons in Punjabi as well. Although I guess in the long run, I think that would make a huge difference. But in the short term, since YouTube is so populated with other people making tutorial videos and different animations, and it's a sea of trouble, but at least 21-25 students every year watch my videos. I mean, like the students who actually study with me, they watch my videos, so at least it's making some effort difference in somebody's life. And also, I mean, I'll be making these videos every year, provided I don't get busy with other projects like teaching too much. And maybe I did this session in a university campus where we actually started teaching kids animation from 10 and above, and I'll be going there again in the summer, and after that maybe like 3 times a week, hopefully, inshallah. So the thing is that over there we actually were able to successfully teach 6 to 8 kids how to draw animations and illustrations, and they were really very sad that we had to leave the campus on a very short notice. One being that I was hospitalized, well, not hospitalized, but I went for like X-ray, and I fell down in campus, and I was hiding the whole pain for like 6 months. So I wanted to actually finish the program before I could come back home. So thankfully, the other school where I teach is like a couple of blocks away from my house, a block away, in fact, from my house. So I get to actually teach kids animation over there. So I'm very happy, and I'm fairly good that at least the kids are actually learning animation. I would like to take on more classes, take on more students, but there are physical limitations of how many students I can teach in 1 year. Last year we did 200 students in 6 months, so I'm pretty happy that we got to teach 200 students, or the beginnings of character animations. So now I've created all those illustrations. Sorry, me rambling on about myself and my students. I don't know, it might sound very awkward, but anyways, those of you who watch this video will like it. Especially my students, they'll say, "Oh, Sir Mudassir is talking about us." So this is the pencil tool in the Toon Boom. So I'm doing a very rough illustration, like very loose. The lines are intersecting on top of each other. Now, the reason that these lines are intersecting is that we have the eraser tool. So whenever you erase a vector shape in Toon Boom, it sort of like doesn't delete the vector shape. It modifies the vector shape, and it actually converts the existing vector shapes into one big or one particular vector shape. So this is very useful when you're adding color. You can just click and drop different color swatches into your character drawings, and this actually streamlines the process of adding color in Toon Boom very easily. These features are very much not easily achievable in Photoshop. So I've seen a lot of people in Pakistan and abroad who use exclusively Photoshop for animations, and at times, if you do not have a tablet, or if you do not have a very good digital tablet, it becomes sort of like a pickle, and I've seen a lot of people actually lose interest. So the more faster you can animate, the more quicker you can create keyframes in betweens, the more fun you will have. I mean, I spent about 1 hour and 50 minutes doing this entire video session, and I had a blast. I mean, like, I was listening to music and I was working. It really is a very cathartic and a very relaxing thing. Some of my students, the older ones that went to LUMS, they said that they want to do this as a hobby. Some of my students said that this is something that needs to be on television and this and that. And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, like, maybe in a few years, maybe if someone is some kind benefactor actually grants us some kind of funding or finances, that we can actually post some tutorial videos on television. I mean, that would be awesome. But let's see. It's just a new start. A few years back, even us having YouTube was not a reality, because the country was facing so much security concerns that YouTube had been blocked for 4.5 years. So since now YouTube is open, we can post videos. I'm very happy. I mean, I've been posting videos, I've been posting animation tutorials, we've been making animations with the students, we've been making animations with the team members that we've hired. So it's going pretty well, and we'll be getting to see a lot of those guys pretty soon, because we just went on a small little break for a few months, because my spine, I have a spinal injury, so the kids are actually working with my associates and my other team members, and we'll be coming back again to my studio space, inshallah, hopefully in the summers, and we'll do some more animation projects with a bigger team, a better team, faster team. I would say this summer program that we have been doing for the last 3 years has also helped us. So over here you can see that the characters are now it has like a step up or a spring movement up and down, and his hands are also opening up and closing down as he comes down. So it's like he's doing some kind of heavy exercising. Now mind you that right now this glass with a turban, this looks very odd. He looks strange. Also, I thought that removing the flap from the side of the turban would also make it much more easier and much more visible, the character doing the walk. So now I'm just doing some copy paste work. You can always copy a frame, and it's always a good idea to actually have some kind of lag. It's also called spacing. So sometimes you want a character to actually have some kind of like lag or a step or a stay in a particular pose. So you add for those places I added 4 frames. I did one illustration in 4 frames. So that is 4/24th of a second. Yeah. So now I'm actually drawing the other turban sides. Mind you that I imported this picture into Photoshop as a PNG. Do not import an image as a PSD or a JPEG, because it will have the white background, and white background is also sometimes an issue because it sort of like comes visible in the front and you can't actually draw anything on it, and it becomes a real hassle and a real problem when you actually want to do some drawing or illustrations in Toon Boom, because the white background is also already causing you a lot of trouble. So it's always the best idea that you create a background layer which is totally white. You can even change the color in the properties section, and I'm just now quickly tracing over the illustrations. This may look very boring. You might actually go to sleep at times. I always keep a cup of coffee, and my countrymen prefer tea, Lipton or Supreme or Brook Bond, or I mean, like, there are a dozen different brands of tea, and everybody's asking me, oh, you should have tea, it will actually reduce your weight, and it's very good for you, it's an antioxidant. And I say, I can't stay up with tea, I need coffee, I need 8 or 4 shots of espresso to keep myself awake. So thing is, animation is a 18 hours 12 hours job, and it's at times it's a thankless job because it takes you a lot of time to animate something, and mostly what happens is that whatever you're animating, almost 30% of your animated work does not get to see the light of day. I mean, nobody actually can see your animations except for the final project. So they actually don't know the process of how hard it is to draw each and every frame and bring that animation up to speed. And there are only, I think, in my knowledge, I mean, like, I don't know if I might be right or wrong, but there might be at least 3 or 4 or 5 animators, 2D animators, professional 2D animators whose work I've seen in Pakistan physically, who can do some stuff like this. And also, all of them, I know few of them,
they were teaching, but then they later on decided that they should stop teaching and start working on making 2D animation. So it's a personal preference. It depends from person to person. I normally started what do you call it, learning animation and teaching animation from a very young age, because when I wanted to actually learn this stuff in college and university, there was nobody who could teach me. Thankfully, I found this guy. He was, I think, 5 years younger than me, and in college. I mean, like, you wouldn't believe me when I've said this. He graduated 5 years. He was 5 years younger than me, and he graduated a year ago from his master's program. So I met this guy. His name was Jamal Sage. Really, person, like the dude. The dude knew his stuff, and people used to make fun of him because he was very young. I think I'm still Facebook friends with the guy. He still looks very young. I mean, like, he's married, he might have a kid or so, but he still looks young. And I kept on reading stuff about animators, mostly the people who actually stay in this profession, and they are constantly doing animations, and they live to be very old, and they don't age that. I mean, like, they don't age that much. I guess the reason might be that since they're actually drawing so many characters, and they're always drawing happy characters with different faces and different mouths, and they're always looking in themselves in the mirror, and they're always smiling and laughing and different facial features. So I think they really don't, since they're always smiling, it's something to do with the facial muscles. When you're exercising the facial muscle, it sort of like actually releases endorphins, and some people say that you stay young. I don't know, but like, I've read some research on it. So there was this guy called Mitkal, and he lived to be 105 years old, and he was the lead animator for Disney for a very long time. I mean, like, a lot of great artists I've known on social media, or I've met through like physical interaction over the years. They said that he lived to be 105, and Stan Lee just recently died. He was 92. I know personally a couple of cartoonists from Pakistan, and one of the oldest cartoonists in Pakistan right now is Maxim, and I think he's 92, or maybe he's crossed Stan Lee, and he's maybe 94, but he's really old, and he does make cartoon illustrations every day. So, we have our rock star cartoon animators and illustrators here in Pakistan also. Problem is that since social media and Facebook and Wikipedia and all those other things, you need like dedicated people in Pakistan to actually promote these artists. So if you even Google today, I would say you might find Maxim, because his page was created by me, yours truly, and you could find Javed Iqbal. But there are like 25-30 masters roaming around in the country who you cannot Google, because Google or Wikipedia doesn't have those people's names. And I've been trying to actually create awareness through videos and interviews and other things of these artists' existence, and it's been an uphill battle. I mean, like, it's fairly worked in some cases, and it's fairly hasn't worked, because I mean, like, 4 years YouTube was blocked, so people actually switched to other avenues like Facebook. So we have had a lot of success on Facebook. I mean, like, we are just starting out on YouTube, but we are huge on Facebook. I mean, like, the level of support and calls that we get on Facebook, and the awareness campaigns that we've run on Facebook has been massive. So in a nutshell, I would say we were not that popular on YouTube, and we started on YouTube very late compared to other people, but at least we've started YouTube. So I guess it's going to take some time. So anyway, so we've almost done nearly more than half of the frames, and I'm pretty much impressed by the level of speed that I have gained over the past, I guess, 22 or maybe 25 years. But it's been really amazing journey, and I guess I might have like a couple of 40 to 50 more years to come because I also don't look my age, and I mean, people still think that I'm 20, 25, 26. I'm not, but it's always good to hear compliments about yourself. So I hope this character actually gets to see the light of day someday, and maybe television, maybe somewhere on a billboard or something, or maybe on WhatsApp and Instagram and other places. I mean, I've met a lot of people from other cities, and they are dying for me to actually go there and teach their kids cartoon animation and digital illustration. And I'm really amazed that very few people actually have learned this stuff, or I mean, like, a lot of people want to learn this stuff, but it's really hard to learn it because very few people actually know the technical aspects of learning digital illustration. And I do hope that a lot of the artists that are my age or younger than me, I hope they actually start teaching this. And also teaching, as far as teaching is concerned, I have this student who became an instructor, a junior instructor in the university, and he had this thing called doubt. So he always used to say, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? I said, just say what I've taught you. I mean, like, I've been teaching you 4 months now, and you know everything. You know the principles of animation. You know the concepts of visual storytelling. You know the anatomy drawings. You know the gestural poses. Almost everything is just in you. It's just like you have to bring in your inner artist, or maybe like tone down the level of not being confident enough to give a lecture. I mean, the very first time I started 8 years ago, that was 8 years ago, teaching this stuff, I was really scared the first day. So for an icebreaker, what I did was, and I would say, okay, this is a very good icebreaker for teaching kids, especially teenagers. Ask them the last cartoon show that they've seen, and everybody will say Doraemon or Tom and Jerry or something, and then you just start talking about, okay, have you seen this episode, have you seen that episode? So that actually brings out a little bit of a comfort in them, that, oh, this teacher knows these cartoon shows. And that is, I think, the first icebreaker. And then you show them these cartoons, and then they say, oh my god, we can make that stuff that we saw on television? Oh my god. And this is that awe moment. I mean, like, I wish I can show you this. Maybe like in the next video I can show you that oh my god moment, the very first day I give a lecture and I show the kids and they say, oh my god, this guy can make cartoons, this guy can make animations, oh my god. And then they start begging me and asking me, okay, so when can we learn this, when can we learn this? And I say, hold on. First you need to learn how to draw. First you need how to learn how to draw cartoons. First you need how to draw straight lines and so many things. So it's really, I guess I would say, it's like an ongoing process, and you have to learn the basics of shape, basic of anatomy, and then figure out your own pace and your own speed. And again, it depends from student to student, and it depends from age to age. But we figured out by sitting together, the 25 masters and us and I, that the best age to teach a kid cartoons animation is 10. Well, you can teach them like before 10 also, but it's always a good idea to teach them at 10. So here I'm using the transform tool and I'm creating keyframes. So whenever you create keyframes, you can move the character using the mouse key. So all these things, I'm overlapping all these shapes together, and I've created like a couple of copies, 2-3 copy versions, so that the Chacha Jalebi moves from one point to the other. I'm sorry I was rambling a lot during my lecture, and I hope I didn't miss any important portions. You can always leave out a comment if you guys want to learn more video, if you want to get more ideas on how to learn this. This is basically I mean, like, I guess I don't know. I mean, like, this is I think this might be my 10th or maybe my 15th tutorial video that I'm doing. I mean, like, I've lost count of the number of tutorial videos I have made over the years. Okay, so now I'm rendering this, and the rendering option is file and render, and I think it's not rendering. I can't see that in the folder, so let me just pause in. Okay, so I think there was something wrong with the software, the rendering part of it, and I've downloaded, installed QuickTime because it was an MOV file, so it will work now. So where was I? Yeah. So the animation part is pretty much done. I'm just going to save the file and save it into the desktop. Normally it always renders in the desktop. It doesn't render into another partition in my laptop. I don't know if this is a bug or if this is like something generic, but let's see. So rendering files. So pretty much looks good. The file is rendering, and I think it's almost done. Oh yes. Oh, okay. Is it done? No. Okay, now it's done. And let's see the video. Dum-de-dum-de-dum. Oh, okay. So I forgot to actually exclude some empty frames, and I'm going to re-render this file. Just try and see, run a test run the animation sequence and overwrite on the existing file. So I'll be playing this file, and also I'll be posting at the end of this sequence the animation sequence in 4 or 5 loops, so that you can figure out how the walk cycle. Mind you, the walk cycle slightly is a bit off in the middle portion of the walk cycle, because the overlapping legs are not falling properly on top of each other. I just noticed this in the video, but when I'll upload this video, hopefully in the near few days, I'll upload the proper working version. So this is an assignment that I'm posting to the kids. I hope that the kids from my school and other places who would like to follow through this assignment, install Toon Boom and Photoshop, and follow through this assignment. It would be really great to see your results, what you come up with. And also, if you don't come up with anything, it's still fine. I mean, like, you did your best, you gave it a try, and don't get stressed out that this work was done by me in like 2 hours. It took me 20 years to come to 2 hours. So it will take time. It will take you some time also, but at least once you actually get that time, it will be worth it. Okay, see you soon. Bye bye.